Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley. Welcome to Steelers Almighty. I appreciate everybody being in here, man. Look, the off season is rolling right along, but I'll be happy when the draft gets here. I will be happy. I'll be honest, it has just been um it's tough because it's just speculation and rumor type of stuff. When can we get to some real meat of some stuff? Y'all know me, man. I like to talk about real stuff, some real meat that's going on, and there's not a lot of that going on right now. But it's going to come to an end here. Next week is the draft. Literally a week from today is the draft. We'll be live streaming, so appreciate everybody hanging in there with us during this off season. Look, we're going to live stream the draft. We don't know exactly how we're going to do it, who all is going to be here, but the first round of the draft, 100% is going to be live streamed right here on Steelers Almighty. You know, obviously we can't show it to you and do it that way, but kind of like we watched the football games at the end of the year, we watched it all together. You'll get my live reactions. We'll be going back and forth in the chat, man. So make sure you guys are here on draft day, man. A lot to talk about today. Speaking of speculation in the draft, is it defensive tackle at 21 or bust? You know, all the talk of quarterback, running back, wide receiver, trading up, back, yada, yada, yada. Is it just defensive tackle? Is it just going to come down to that? Next up, Joey Porter Jr. Can he be an elite quarterback or cornerback? Excuse me. The thing about Joey Porter Jr. is, and we'll get into the details, but we'll just see. We'll get into those details later. But can he be an elite corner? And then, last but not least, is the Steelers franchise slipping? You know, we're going to talk about it all the way around. To me, there's some big question marks, man, that we got to get answered. So, and where we actually sit. There's reality, and then there's the non-reality, and I think it's kind of a little bit in between there. So we'll break all of that down for you today. Again, man, if you want your comments, questions, or rant up on the screen, you know how to do that. You want to help support the channel, super chats are wide open for you guys to be able to do that. Also, can take a look at memberships. If you want to become a member, members always get first access up in the chats because they get prioritized. That's another way to help support the channel. 5 separate levels, just threw another all 22 in the hopper for everybody to watch how we break down the all 22. So appreciate that. Let's get after this, man. So first up, draft at defensive tackle at 21. Is it that? Are we taking a D tackle there? And that's it. You know, all the talk, all the speculation during the offseason. Has it been just that? I mean, look, we saw what the end of the year looked like. Couldn't stop the run, couldn't do the things necessary to win games on the defensive side, especially when the defensive line. Or was that just a reaction? You know, well, we didn't play good against the Ravens. We didn't really stop the run. So in the last 2 games that we played against the Ravens, is that just a knee-jerk reaction? For Steeler fans that actually paid attention and know what they're looking at, you know that the run defense was a problem. It was a problem. Outside of early in the season, when we started playing better competition, it was a problem. And it's got to be addressed. It's not just in the run game, too. You know, it's also in rushing the passer. See, that's the avenue that nobody ever talks about. Rushing the passer, getting after the quarterback. Outside of, or in the interior, if they decide to double team Cam, we get 0 pressure from the guy that gets blocked single-handedly. None. That has to change. Not only do we not get pressure from that guy, we don't get any run stuffing from that guy. It's just, we have to get better. We have to get better across the defensive line. It's just flat out. Not to mention, Cam Hayward's not going to play forever, people. He's not. I know he had a phenomenal year last year, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts. He had a phenomenal year last year. But you're asking a lot of a 36-year-old interior defensive lineman to do that again. I think he had a lot to prove last year. He was healthy. The previous 2C, he was hurt. He was healthy, but that's asking a lot. So for me, it's D tackle or bust. I think the reason being is because we just have to get better. It's the biggest need on the draft board, too. I know quarterback is the most important position. And what I say the biggest need on the draft board, based on the talent in the draft and what the Steeler needs are, defensive line, in turn, defensive tackle, is just the biggest need. If there were a plethora of quarterbacks out there that oh man, there's a ton of talented guys, then obviously the focus would change. But that's not the case. The case is defensive tackle and running back are the deepest positions in this draft. They also happen to be positions of need for the Steelers. So, but again, the Steelers have a lot of holes. But to me, it is defensive tackle or bust. All the speculation that's gone on, all the clickbait articles that people put out there. Oh, it's going to be a corner. Oh, the Steelers are going to trade up. The Steelers are going to trade back, which all of that can be in play. As far as trading up and back, that can be in play. But what if the guy that you want is available at 21? What's the purpose of trading back? Now, some of you are going to say, well, come on, Big B, you can get an extra draft pick. And you're right. You're exactly right. But if the guy that you want is available and you trade back, is he still going to be available? Or do you trade back saying, you know what, we'll take 2 or 3 guys, and if either one of those guys is available, that's who we'll take? See, I think that's a mistake. I think that's absolutely a mistake, because if the guy that you want is there, you take him. Why are you risking that? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, if the guy that you want is available, then you take that guy. Trading back so you can say you get an extra draft pick, I understand, but to me, go get the guy. Go get the guy. What's going on, S. Palmer? We appreciate you being in here and supporting the channel as a member, man. That's it for me. Don't worry about, okay, well, other draft picks. Look at it this way. The Steelers' second-round draft pick was DK Metcalf. Just look at it that way. Is there going to be a guy in the second round that you're going to draft that's going to be better than DK Metcalf? I mean, obviously, potentially. But we don't know. We know DK Metcalf is a proven commodity. We already know that. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. We know that. But you go into the draft, and then you say, well, we're going to take this guy. We traded back, so we missed out on the guy that we wanted. He was available, but we wanted to trade back to get a second-round pick. Then we missed the guy that we actually wanted, and now we're settling. Isn't that what the Steelers have done? And I'm not talking about necessarily moving back, but it seems like the franchise has just taken a step back, which we'll talk about later. Why not be forward thinkers? Why just, well, it makes sense to get it. No, man, be more aggressive. That's what got the Steelers in this position to begin with, because we haven't been aggressive. We can't continue to do the stuff that we've done and expect different results. So that is my whole thing, is that we can't just, and again, if you want to trade back, and maybe the guy isn't there, but if he is, hey, we didn't have a second-round pick this year because we used it to get DK Metcalf. Wouldn't we be fine with that? I mean, are you fine with that? Because to me, I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with it. Well, looky here. Zay Curry became a member, man. We appreciate you, Mr. Curry. Thank you for supporting the channel, man. We thank you a lot for supporting the channel. But this is the whole point, is that why not just be a forward thinker and just say, hey, man, No, we didn't have a second round pick this year because we got DK Metcalf on our team. Okay. Are we not okay with that? Are we not okay with that? You know, Edward Steeler says I suck. So does your mother. So I just don't understand what the point is. So I just don't understand. We'll see. We'll see about it. But yeah, it's just one of those things to where I'm tired of the Steelers just not being forward thinkers and doing the stuff that you need to do in order to be good. And just, hey man, look, yeah, I get it. We just didn't have we don't have a second round pick. We don't. We don't have a second round pick. So it is what it is. It is what it is. We got an idiot in here that we got to get rid of. Sorry about that. So, but yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. Who do we got here? Sam with diabetes. Hey, Big B, if Kevin Winston Jr. drops to the third round, we should run to the podium. Maybe. Maybe. So, and the hell with drafting a QB. See, my thing is the only quarterback that I would take at 21 is Shedeur Sanders. Will Howard, Tyler Shuck, Jackson Dart. I'm not taking any of those guys before the third round. And even then, I might even push it off to the fourth round because those guys currently aren't good enough to be starting quarterbacks for the Steelers this year for us to be a really good football team. I don't believe that. So when you say, hey, why not double dip? Yeah. Yeah. So I get it, Adam. I get it a lot. Double dip at D line. D line has got to be a priority for the Steelers. So I think the Steelers got to walk away this draft with at least 2 defensive linemen. So we appreciate you, Jordan. Thank you for supporting the channel, man, and saying that. And my angry man says he's okay with DK as my second round pick. I am too. I am too. There's too many people that I think, oh man, we're missing out. The Steelers literally are not missing out. And I think that's what people have to get past. We didn't miss out on a second round pick. We got DK Metcalf as the second round pick. I know our brains are trained to think otherwise because the Steelers haven't done that in forever since Minka. But I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing: people weren't mad when they did it. People weren't mad when the Steelers traded a first round pick for Minka because we did it in season. All of a sudden, Minka plays outstanding, and nobody was saying, "Oh, well, the Steelers don't have a first round pick." Oh no! By the way, it was Minka Fitzpatrick, so we're okay. Same thing. You got to come to that realization this year. Steelers don't have a second round pick. The reason that they don't, they have DK Metcalf. He was the second round pick. It's as good as that. So it's as good as that. Mark Malone's already on booze today. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. And yeah, Baby Hands Pickett. Let's not talk about Baby Hands anymore. I mean, Baby Hands is in Cleveland, and he might not even win the starting job in Cleveland, which that would be the telltale sign of Kevin Colbert basically just sandbagged the Steelers his last draft. He took a guy at number 20 that can't find a job, not even in Cleveland. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. So that's the whole thing. We just got to figure some stuff out. We got to figure some stuff out. I think it's D tackle at number 22. I don't think there was any ifs, ands, or buts about it, man. What do you guys think, chat? Do you think all the speculation, all the BS, all the rumors and stuff going on, it's just been just that BS rumors? Is that no? What it really is, it's always been D tackle at 21. Now, again, the draft does funny things. The draft does weird, funny things. We saw it last year. 6 quarterbacks in the top 12. The team started panicking. And they panicked starting at number 8 when Michael Penix Jr. They were like, well, Atlanta panicked. I don't know if Atlanta panicked. They thought, okay, this is the guy, we're taking him. Well, then J.J. McCarthy, he goes. Bo Nix, 6 in the top 12. So, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So, and again, here's my man Jason. He's saying trade back and get the best D tackle available. Why are we trading back? What's the point of trading back? You're trying to replace a second round pick versus taking and here's the thing. Get the best D tackle available. Well, shouldn't you do that at 21? Why don't you just do that at 21? Where are you going to trade back to? And what are you going to get in return? Hey, we're going to give up access to the best possible defensive tackle that we can get at 21. We're going to trade back to 27 to take a lesser player in our eyes just so we can have another third-round pick? That doesn't make sense to me. That just doesn't make sense to me. Just take the best guy where you're at. And it'd be one thing if, like, the Steelers got penalized or they did something, a foul, and they don't have a second-round pick at all. Like, they just don't have one. Like the Patriots. When 2 years ago, when Joey Porter Jr. got drafted 32, well, 32 technically is a first-round pick. But the Patriots didn't have one because he got in trouble. So, or was it the Patriots or Tampa? I can't remember. But they didn't have a first-round pick. So they didn't have one at all. It wasn't that a trade happened and somebody moved in that spot. There were literally only 31 picks in that draft. If that was the case, then I would say, oh, you know what? Yeah, we probably need to move back so we can replace that guy. The Steelers aren't replacing the guy. Like, they traded for somebody. They traded a pick to get somebody. It just happened to be DK Metcalf. At some point, we got to just be okay with that. I don't know when. So, my man Jordan here, who's a member, said, I trust developing Will Howard if we go QB in the 4th round. I mean, I haven't been that high on Will Howard, but I can live with it if it's the 4th round. I can live with it. Oh, but here's another thing. There's so many of us out there that don't trust the coaching staff. Like, we don't even trust the coaching staff to call plays. Now we're supposed to trust the coaching staff to develop a quarterback. Okay. And then, again, I'm not trying to be a glass half empty guy because I am never that guy. But if you don't trust the coaching staff to call the right plays, why would you trust them to develop a guy that's going to need development? Will Howard is not a pro-ready quarterback right now. He does a lot of things well, has the intangibles, but he's going to need some development. Do we trust that? Now, Mark Malone, you're wrong. I've watched him for 4 years. He needs development. I watched him 4 years at Kansas State. He's the same quarterback he was at Kansas State that made bad decisions. The difference at Ohio State, he was playing with a lot better players. There wasn't a whole lot of difference. Now, he got a lot better from his freshman year to sophomore year, but everybody does. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot. Again, if we're trusting that, then you also have to trust the coaching staff on game day. But if you're not going to trust the coaching staff on game day, then there's no way that you are going to trust him to develop them. So, It just not the same. Mark Malone, are you telling me that a college football game, you're telling me that that looked developed? Come on, man. You're smarter than that, brother. You're smarter than that. It's not the same. And it's not like he went out there and threw for 350 yards either. He didn't do that. But that's just me. I might be biased. It is what it is. Is Gabriel going to be the diamond in the rough pick in the later rounds, says our member Jimmy K? I don't think Dylan Gabriel has the arm strength. You know, people are talking about Shedeur Sanders and, well, he doesn't have a rocket arm. Well, if he doesn't have a rocket arm and people are saying that his arm is like a noodle, then what is Dylan Gabriel's? Like, I mean, if Shedeur Sanders has a noodle arm, what is Dylan Gabriel's? Like an arm made of cotton? I don't know. It's like a Kleenex arm. I don't know. I don't know what it would be, but it could be. It could be. So, but I think it's D tackle at 21, man, and I am just I'm out on trading back to get a second round pick. I don't want to do that. I'm not saying they won't. I just don't want to do that. Take the best D tackle at 21. Don't miss out on a guy because you think you need to have another pick. You had your pick. It was DK Metcalf. That's okay. Live with it. Live with it. Now, if there's a scenario where you could trade back from 21 to, say, 25, you see the teams that are behind you, they don't need defensive tackles, and Kenneth Grant and Derek Harmon are both still available, that's different. But I don't think going from 21 to 25 is going to get you a second round pick. And I don't think moving back for anything less than a second round pick makes any sense at all. But again, I'm just hammering I'm not coming off of, if your guy's there at 21, take him at 21. I'm not backing away from that. That is the hill that I'm going to die on. So that's the hill I'm going to die on. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So we're going to move on, people. We are going to move on. Joey Porter Jr., man. Can Joey Porter Jr., can he be just an elite corner? Can he move into the top 10, top 5 as far as corners in this league? Some people are saying right now that he's already a top 10 corner. I disagree with that. I disagree wholeheartedly with that. Doesn't mean I think he's trash. Doesn't mean I don't think that he's very good, because he is. But there are better corners in this league. And here's the thing about him. I think Joey Porter Jr. has all the physical tools. He 100% has the physical tools to be an elite corner in this league. He's got speed. He's got arm length. He studies film. I think he understands defense. But, you know, a lot of times football, especially at that position, is mental. And I don't think he trusts himself enough yet. Just trust your abilities, because his technique is a train wreck. And when I mean train wreck, I'm talking about trusting when the ball's in the air, or trusting his technique on a route. For instance, he grabs almost every time when he's trailing, which they're always trailing. You know, he's always grabbing, holding. I'm like, look, guys make catches in the National Football League. Okay? If you're there and the guy catches the ball and you just tackle him immediately, there are worse things that can happen in this world. There's worse things that can happen on a football field. You know, you don't just shut people down. The way the rules are, you're not going to shut anybody out. You're just not going to do that. You know, even think about that crazy run that Darrelle Revis went on, where he faced all those top wide receivers He didn't shut those guys out. Now, he shut them down, but they made catches. Well, guys are going to make catches. But the problem is the times that they're not going to make a catch, you don't trust them yourself, and then you reach out and grab them. You hold them. You push them, whatever, and you get a penalty. Those are the ones that we can't stand. It's like, come on, man. Look, trust yourself. It's not, and maybe it is embarrassing. Hell, I've never played cornerback before. Maybe it's embarrassing for a guy to make a catch on you. But you know what? It's going to happen. You're not just going to shut guys down to no catches. That's an impossible thing. So I think he can be the guy. He's just got to trust himself more. Because again, he's got the physical tools. He knows what he's doing. He studies film. You know, you don't see him getting beat. I think there was a couple of times where it's like, whoa, what coverage were we in? But you can clean that kind of stuff up because I think that has more to do with miscommunication than him just not knowing, you know. And trust me, the Steelers' miscommunication in the backfield this year, in the secondary, I should say, was atrocious. At best, it was atrocious. My God. I mean, you all watched it. I mean, how many times a game with the ball snapped and Steelers secondary guys are still running across the field to get to somebody, don't know who to cover? I'm like, can we get the call right? Please. Please. Get it in. Get it right. So I think it's going to be fine. I think he will be fine. So, and this is a great statement by our member S. Palmer. He says, other than QB, corner is the toughest position to play. Yeah, you might be right. Either corner or left tackle, you know. And the only reason that I say that left tackle is because you could literally pancake your man every single play. If there's 75 snaps, and if I'm a left tackle, and if I literally knock my guy on the ground 74 times in a row, but on the 75th time he gets a sack, I had a bad game. So that part of it, that's why I would say maybe left tackle ahead of corner. But you're right. You're exactly right. So I think Joey Porter Jr. I think he can be elite. I'll admit he didn't have the greatest year last year. I know we look at a couple of games, Cincinnati in particular, just penalty after penalty after penalty. And then they went at him, you know. But I think that's part of it. He's got to understand, hey, man, the rules of today, guys are going to catch the football. Guys are going to catch the football. My job is to try to limit that as much as possible without creating a penalty. But when they catch it, tackle them immediately. It's just that. Like I said, Darrelle Revis, that was maybe the best season a cornerback's ever played based on who he had to cover. Guys had catches. He just tackled them. Now, he limited the number of catches, but when they did, he tackled them. Right then and there. There was no, well, he's out of position. Oh, no, he got a quick slant and ran, broke a tackle and ran for 20 yards. None of that happened. They catch a pass, tackle right there. Just do that. And try to limit the number that they get. But I like Joey Porter Jr. I really like him. I just think it's a mental thing with him, guys. What do y'all think in the chat? What do y'all think about Joey Porter Jr.? I think he's got it. Stay safe, Ali. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming in like you always do, man, supporting us. We appreciate you. So I think I just think that I like Joey Porter Jr. I just think it's a mental thing. He's got to trust himself. So my man Leonard Dodds in. He's a member. If the Steelers can get Jalen Ramsey, the Steelers would have a top 5 secondary. We talked about that on the Big Show the other day. Like we talked about, Mr. Dodd, you were in there. Steelers would be nuts if they had an opportunity to get Jalen Ramsey for, I don't know, a 3rd-round pick next year. They'd be idiots not to do that. Absolute idiots. Absolute idiots. So Steeler Lee, thank you for the first super chat of the day, man. We appreciate you supporting the channel. He says, my son plays cornerback heading off to college, and he says all the time the corner is super difficult. Damn right it is. It is. A lot of it, again, is perception because, again, a guy made a catch. Oh, you're not very good. Huh? Oh, man, this guy had 3 catches today. Yeah, that corner is terrible. What are you talking about? Literally, you come off the line of scrimmage. After 5 yards, I can't even breathe on you. Because if I breathe on you, they're going to call a flag. Meanwhile, they allow the wide receivers to push, knock you by when you go by. They allow you to do that, push off on you. Ball's coming in the air. They let you get that extra hand in late. They do all of that stuff. If a defender does anything, they call a penalty. So, but that's it. Why do we need Ramsey? I don't know what you're talking about. We need Ramsey because he's good. That's why you need Ramsey. So, I just don't understand. But it's big puns on that yak early. And yes, Steely, you have to have a short-term memory. So, you got to have short-term memory. But that's the thing. And you're right, Mark Malone. He's got to get sneakier with his hands. The problem with Joey Porter Jr., every time you see that he's holding, it's always he's got a handful of jersey where the receiver's running away from him. I'm like, well, hell, an 8-year-old could call holding on that, man. I'm like, you hold a guy when you're close to him. You're not holding a guy when he's 5 yards away and you're trying to stop. You can't do that, which maybe that's part of it. I think he's a gambler. And I think you got to have a little bit of gambler in you, but there's a time and a place when you gamble. There's a time and a place. And it seems like JPJ likes to gamble a lot. Then he gets beat. And then all of a sudden he holds, and then it's a penalty. Can't have it. Can't have it. So, let's see. Leonard Dodd with the super chat. If you take one bad step at BB, you're cooked. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But you can say that about a lot of positions, though. You can say that about a lot of positions. The difference is on how the great ones, for instance, like Deion Sanders. You're going to tell me there was never a time where he took a bad step? Of course there was. The difference with him is he had the speed to catch up. Guys that have speed that can catch up. Because, again, at corner, you're always trailing. You're always trailing. And the rules are stacked against you. But if you have the speed to catch up and the anticipation, that's the difference. So, there's a lot of people don't like Ramsey, saying Ramsey's too old. He's about to be. Ramsey was an all-pro last year. What are we talking about? Like, what are we doing? Lord have mercy. So, signing Ramsey, I'm a big pun. You're putting that corner, man. Can't respond to you anymore with the stupidity. Lord have mercy. But yeah, I think if the Steelers can figure out how to get Joey Porter Jr. to just say, hey, man, trust yourself, trust your technique, continue to work on all of those things, and just have a clear mind, I think he would be a lot better. Because one of his problems, and I'm sure you guys would agree, I think he got out over his skis last year and thought he was better than what he actually was. He had a really good rookie year. Really good rookie year. All of a sudden, there's some talk, and then, he's a top 5 corner. Well, no, he wasn't. He was a good corner, but he wasn't a top 5 corner. And he got to thinking he's a top 5 corner. Well, then reality set in. Reality kicked in. I think he can be very good. I just think that he's got to take his time get back to the basics, trust himself. Uh-oh. Got a new member. Mac, the Guru, Baltimore Gaming, has just become a member of Steelers Almighty. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting the channel. So, but it's tough, man. It's tough. A veteran corner, if you can play, the guys can play. It doesn't matter if the guy's a veteran or not. I mean, if you're a second team All-Pro, you're a second team All-Pro. Does it matter if you're 200 years old? I don't think it does. I mean, that again, it's part. I just don't understand this about Steeler fans. It's like, well, we don't want this guy. I know he's really good and he could help us right now, but yeah, we don't want him. I don't know what to say. It's like we're mad about having access to really good football players. I just don't get it. I've never gotten it. I've never understood it. So maybe I won't. But if you have an opportunity to get really good players, why don't you just get them? So it's crazy. It's crazy. Mr. Angry Man says, would you ever trade Watt or Minka? Tom is running out. Personally, I'm not giving Watt $40 million a year. I mean, yeah, we'll talk about that. We can talk about that here in a sec, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, depends on how you look at it. Again, you know me, I like to live in reality. The Steelers aren't going to trade him, but I think there's a possibility the Steelers could trade Minka, and I wouldn't be mad at it. My only issue is you got rid of Minka, not allowing him to do the things that he does well. Like, he was really good when you allowed him to do the things that he does well. Well, now you have the guy playing center field making $18 million. I don't get that. You can't pay a safety $18 million and asking Minka to do what he does. That just doesn't make sense to me. So that's just me. That's just me. Mr. Dodd here with the super chat says, these Ramsey takes are idiotic. He is an all-pro last year. Please go watch the film. Y'all crying because y'all don't want to play or pay legit DB. Stop it. I just don't get, like, what is wrong with having good players on your football team? It's like, okay, like people were mad about DK Metcalf, a 27-year-old guy that can make a ton of plays for you. No, we don't want that. Like, there was talk when we brought up a hypothetical situation of bringing in Tyreek Hill. No, don't want him. Well, damn. Who do you want? Like, who do you want? And then maybe that's the question. If the Steelers could go get a corner right now, who is it, chat, that you would want? Who is it that you would want? I'm just curious. Like, who do you want right now? If you could go get somebody, who would you want? Patrick Surtain? Okay. Okay. And I'm just saying, I'm like, golly, you don't want all-pro talent? Oh, Lord. It's crazy. It is crazy. But we're going to look at it. Wild. It's just wild. So, oh well. Doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. We are who we are as a fan base. Steeler Lee with the super chat says Steeler fans want to win, but do it cheap. Makes no sense. That's the thing. They want to do it. They want to do it cheap. But then when the Steelers don't spend the money, then they get pissed off that they didn't spend any money. Oh, I mean, And here's the thing, they want to do it cheap. I could see if it was your money. It's not even your money. Like, it's not your money. You know, when I go to the grocery store, I'm one of the cheap. First of all, let me clarify some stuff. I'm one of the cheaper men in America. Now, I'll spend money on some stuff that I really want to do, but for the most part, I'm pretty damn cheap. But if I was spending somebody else's money, I wouldn't be cheap at all. I mean, it wouldn't matter. It literally wouldn't matter. So, big pun, the disrespect, brother. You're either going to stop it or you won't be back. We'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. It's my money, and I need it now, says Zay Curry. Oh man, I like value. Everybody likes value, but in all pro, how much more value can you get? So I don't know. I don't know, but it is what it is. Let's move on, man. Is the Steeler franchise slipping? Is the Steelers franchise slipping? I think it is. And personally, I think so. Personally, I think so. So, I think so. I think the Steelers, with their mindset over the last, I don't know. I think their mindset over the last 10 years, I think the Steelers are slipping. I think they're slipping. And it's too bad. It's too bad because they don't have to be that way. I don't know. I don't know about the Steelers, man. Super chat by Leonard Dodd talking about Jalen Ramsey. Somebody said Ramsey wasn't a good locker room fit, so Aaron Rodgers is. Ugh. You're right about that. You're right about that. And now, Mark Malone, you are correct. And I was literally going to bring that up. The Steelers went through a bad period in the 80s. They slipped. Now, it wasn't the entire decade, but it was for a while. The Steelers just weren't good. So they just weren't good. The difference this time around is that the Steelers, like we've brought it up several different times, is that the Steelers are rebuilding and rebranding. So they're rebuilding, but they're doing it in a way to where they're still relevant. Like most teams, when they rebuild, they stink for 2 years. The Steelers haven't stunk at all. Now, it's not the standard that we like, but they're doing it in a way that they're still relevant. They've made playoffs. They don't win playoff games, but they need a new quarterback. They're trying to rebuild the offensive line. And how you can do that, and I think people know, it's like you can do that if you have a good defense, you play good special teams, and you can make enough plays at the end of games to stay relevant. All that stuff is very, very possible. And that's what the Steelers have been doing. So Leonard Dodd says our Steelers are on life support. Nah, I disagree. I disagree with that. I don't think the Steelers are on life support. I don't believe that at all. I think they are slipping, but I don't think the Steelers are on life support. Because you can't tell me, let's just say Mason Rudolph happens to be the guy at quarterback. Let's just say that. Aren't the Steelers winning 12 football games this year? Let's just say Mason Rudolph has a resurgence in his career, kind of like Sam Darnold did last year with Minnesota. Don't the Steelers win 12 games this year? Yes, they do. Yes, they damn sure do. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't think they're on life support. I think they are slipping because they're trying to rebuild. And the problem is they just won't go into rebuild mode. If they just went into rebuild mode, then you could say, okay, a couple years, the Steelers have rebuilt. Boom, we're back. But they won't do that. They won't do that. And so That's where the whole difference is. But I don't think they're on life support. I get the premise. I get the premise, but I don't think we're there. I don't think we're there at all. So a lot of you think that Mason can win 12 games. And here's another thing. If the offensive line plays average football, because last year it was below average football. I think we could all agree the offensive line played below average. If the offensive line plays average football, then I pretty much think the Steelers are going to have a good season. And I don't care who the quarterback is. And again, you didn't hear me say, well, the offensive line has to play great. The offensive line has to be a top 5 line. I didn't say that. I just said if they play average football, because we saw what it looked like last year with below average football. We saw what that looked like. If you give us average play, then what? That's all I'm saying. Give us average play. And who the hell knows? Hollywood 931 says, we have to read the room. There were no real franchise guys to pay at quarterback, and we rightfully didn't pay one. Going in the year with Mason and the possibility of Rodgers, we go all in next year. I'm not even saying you go all in next year because you don't even know who the quarterbacks are going to be next year, but I agree with everything you said up until that point. There were no franchise quarterbacks that you wanted to pay, and there are none in this draft. So don't go pay one. I agree with that. Wholeheartedly, Hollywood 931. Wholeheartedly agree. So old or CIDP, maybe Big B, but then we get to the playoffs and who the quarterback is matters. No, I didn't say that it never mattered. I'm just saying if we'll have a good season if the offensive line plays well. Now, here's another thing. I don't know that the Steelers can win a playoff game. I don't care who the quarterback is, whether it's Mason Rudolph, Aaron Rodgers. But I do know this. If the offensive line is good, we have a better chance of winning a playoff game than if the offensive line is bad and the quarterback is good. I'll tell you that right now. Give me the offensive line play because contrary to popular belief, if the line is good, the quarterback should be good and will be good if they're an NFL caliber quarterback. If you give them protection in a run game, then they're going to be good. Unless they're just a terrible quarterback, which I don't believe that's the case about Mason Rudolph. I don't think Mason Rudolph is a terrible quarterback. I don't believe that. I don't believe that he's necessarily a top NFL caliber starter. And he's had opportunities. I mean, everybody says, oh, the Steelers never gave him an opportunity. Yeah, they did. They did. But he also had an opportunity in Tennessee, and he played bad. Now, granted, their offensive line was atrocious. Atrocious. But we brought him back. So here's an opportunity. Here's an opportunity. Give me the O-line. Give me the O-line. And I know I'm an old offensive lineman. Oh, Big B, you're biased. I get it. I get it. But that's my thing. That is my thing. Hollywood, all right, Big B, now I'm not at all saying if Shedeur falls, you don't draft him. You take that shot, but I don't feel you move on. No, Hollywood, 931, me and you must be thinking exactly alike. Because I've said it all along. If Shedeur falls to 21, you take him. But do not move not 1 centimeter up to go draft him. Not one spot. You're hearing all over the place and these on ESPN and all these places, NFL Network. Hey, the Steelers should move up. No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't. The Steelers should stick right where they're at. Don't move up to go take Shedeur Sanders. That makes zero sense. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that and give up draft capital. Either he'll be there or he won't. Now, I guess technically if you think he's the man, but I don't think he is. I think he can be the guy if he falls to you, but I don't think you need to give up draft capital to go get him. I guess that's a better my assessment. I don't think you need to give up draft capital to go get him. So, what are we saying? Body Bag says Tomlin had all pros on the line: Big Ben, AB, Le'Veon Bell, and lost to Tebow and Bortles. Okay, you're putting that all on Tomlin? Okay, I guess. It's wild that Mike Tomlin gets absolutely zero credit, and I mean zero credit for anything good that happens in Pittsburgh, but he gets all the blame, and I mean all of it, when something goes wrong. Like, he doesn't get any credit whatsoever if anything possibly good happens with the Steelers. They win a game they're not supposed to win, had nothing to do with him. But the moment something goes wrong, it is all Mike Tomlin. And again, I'm not even Tomlin's biggest fan because I've said it. I never would have given him an extension last year. There was no reason to give him an extension. Go win playoff games, Mike, and then you can have your extension. He does the same thing because he wants to be in on everything because he thinks he's smarter than everybody. So, and again, Tomlin is doing irreparable damage to the Steelers brand. That could be one of the dumbest statements I've heard in my entire life. There is not a person on earth that think that the Steelers brand is bad, number one, and they don't think it's because of Mike Tomlin. Again, he gets all the blame, all of it, when something goes bad. But when something's good, it had nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with him. You know, he didn't have anything to do with it. It's incredible that that's what people say. And again, if you want Tomlin fired, I'm not even saying that you can't say that Mike Tomlin should be fired, because I'm close. I'm very close because I'm tired of the nonsense. But can we just at least be honest about it? Like, for instance, he's doing all this damage to the Steelers brand. Isn't the stadium still full? Like, don't people still go to the games? The answer, yes. Don't people still go from outside of, I don't know, if they had a game here in Dallas, where I live in Dallas, that stadium in Dallas, well, technically Arlington, is 35% Steeler fans. Oh, by the way, that's basically everywhere you go. Any place that except when we go to Atlanta, it was like 60% Steeler fans last year. The first game of the year, y'all remember that. So the brand is not, there's nothing wrong with the brand. That's just one of those, somebody said that online, so, yep, I've heard it. Yep, I'll just keep repeating it. I mean, come on, man. What are we doing? Steeler Lee with the super chat said, if the brand was so bad, then why do we sell out opponent stadiums? Exactly. So, Cowher didn't get a Super Bowl till the end of his tenure. Like, nobody blames Bill Cowher like they lost in the AFC Championship game to San Diego, at home. I mean, it wasn't Bill Cowher's fault. Oh, he didn't have a quarterback. It was Neil O'Donnell. Oh, okay. I mean, but they got there and they lost, and they shouldn't have. I don't know. So, it is what it is. I mean, what should only mean something to Rooney? We're measuring success by, first of all, what do you think Art Rooney doesn't get paid when we go to a Cowboys stadium? You think Art Rooney is getting paid? I mean, what do you talk? You talked about the brand. So when you brought up the brand and then people shot down that ridiculous statement, now it doesn't matter. That's about as bad of an argument as, well, yeah, we played great, but we won 11 games. Tomlin had zero to do with those 11 wins, but every single loss, every single bad play, everything that happens bad is Mike Tomlin's fault. I just never get, like I said, I get it. I get it. So somebody said that online. So people run with that and think that that's something that we should just use. Somebody said that online. He's hurting the brand. I know everywhere we go, there's Steeler fans literally everywhere. But the brand, nobody buys merchandise anymore. Really? Nobody goes to the games anymore. Really? What part of the brand? I guess the question is, what brand are we talking about that's being hurt by Mike Tomlin? Let's dive into that. Like, explain to me the brand and how the brand is hurt. Because I don't think it is. Are we thinking any vet trade surprises will happen? The only trade that I think could happen for the Steelers might be Minka. That's all. It might be Minka. And see, Tyrone, you're talking about 18. Well, first of all, it's not 18 straight winning seasons because that's not true. There's been 500 records in there too. But I don't give him credit for that anymore. Like, I don't give Mike Tomlin credit for that because let me just ask you this. What would you guys rather take? If you could get into the playoffs by winning 2 football games in a season and then we turned around in the playoffs and won 2 playoff games, wouldn't you take that over winning 12 games and not winning a playoff game? Because personally, I would. I wouldn't like the losing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a hypocrite. I wouldn't like the losing, but I would much rather win in the playoffs than to keep saying, yeah, I win 11, 10, 11, 12 games every year, but I can't win in the playoffs. Versus, yeah, we only won 2 games, but you know what? In the playoffs, we're hell. Nobody wants to face us in the playoffs because we give people hell. So fans are disgusted with mediocrity and the shitty brand of offense he runs. That doesn't destroy the Steelers brand. So try again. That's not killing the Steelers brand. Now, you might not like him as a head coach. Just say that. You might not like the offense that he runs. I think everybody is in agreement with that. How long have I been a fan? Since 1975. How about you? So, I just, that's the whole thing. The brand isn't going anywhere. You don't like his coaching style. Just say that. There's nothing wrong with that because there's a lot of us that get tired of it. How many times have we said it on here? We've said it so much we don't even say it anymore. Is that Mike Tomlin's philosophy on how to win football games can't do that in today's modern NFL. Trying to win with playing great defense, great special. Hell, I think I said it earlier today. Great defense, great special teams, make a play at the end of the game, winning 17-14. You can win games that way, but you don't win in the playoffs that way with mediocre offense at best. All that's true, but that's coaching philosophy. That has zero, and I'll say it again, zero to do with the Pittsburgh Steeler brand. Zero. So we just got to stop it, man. Everybody is tired of the nonsense that he does. So everybody is tired of that offense. And I admit Mike Tomlin he's got to be in on everything. He's got to have his hands in on everything. Control freak, which a lot of guys are control freaks, but hire some people to do the job and let them do the job. There's a lot of things that you can be mad about Mike Tomlin about, but let's just be honest. Don't tell me that he's ruining the Steelers brand. Again, there's certain things that I let go. Disrespect is number one. That's why you don't see Big Pun in here. And number two is we're not going to just let you throw around these internet nonsense just because somebody said it on the internet. When you bring that in here, we talk about it. We talk about it, and we don't let it slide, my man. Just say you don't like Mike Tomlin. There ain't nothing wrong with saying you don't like Mike Tomlin. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing. Nothing wrong with you saying he's not a good coach. You know? Yes, Mike Tomlin's way of doing things is stale, 100%. And that's why I always say if Mike Tomlin just changed his philosophy, people would be okay. But he hasn't done that. What happened to the creativity on D? Where are the corner blitzes and those great inside linebacker blitzes where they would literally crisscross? Don't know. The creativity is gone. That's why I always say they got to have a defensive analyst. But the problem with defense is Mike Tomlin is not technically, Mike Tomlin is the defensive coordinator. And he plays so conservative, you don't get those blitzes anymore. You don't get the slot blitzes. You don't get the safety blitzes. You don't get the linebacker A-gap blitzes. Double cross dogs. You don't get all of that stuff. At some point, you got to get it back. But I'm with you, Brian. First of all, there's a guy in the chat. His name is Brian. He spells it the exact same way I do. That's how men spell Brian. B-R-I-E-N. That's a man spelling of Brian, by the way. I'm going to throw that out there. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring him up just because of that. See, that's how men spell Brian, people. Okay? We don't mess around with any other spelling. And I'm sure this guy growing up, even now, have the people, hey, Breen, hey, Brian. Oh, my God. Get out of here. Get out of here. That's how men spell Brian, by the way. Oh, man. So let's see here. Who else? Nah, Tyrone, the podcasters don't need to stop it. They're fine. Everybody can do what they want. First of all, who's stopping anybody? I'm not stopping anybody from doing anything. You just don't always have to be in here. So what's up, Robert? But yeah, that's kind of the key. Cowher would have 5 Super Bowls if he had been throughout his prime like Tomlin. How do you know that? Like, do we think that Bill Cowher was the one that would have been responsible for grooming him? It's always the hypothetical football. Like, Cowher didn't win anything until the end when he got Big Ben. But whose fault was that? He could have got him. Could have got a quarterback. And we act like Neil O'Donnell was terrible in Pittsburgh. Neil O'Donnell wasn't bad. He had a bad Super Bowl, but he wasn't a bad quarterback. No, everybody knows football. We got it. You're smarter than everybody else. We got it. Maybe they ain't doing the creativity because guys ain't doing what they're supposed to do and playing hero ball. Now, that could be a lot of it, Leonard Dodd, that Tomlin doesn't trust the guy. I know that's why Minka is doing that. I know that's why Minka is playing the way that they have him playing, that they're asking him to do a lot less because he didn't trust the corners. He didn't trust that guys wouldn't get behind him. So he's like, you know what? We got to have Minka playing in center field. And we got to keep him back there because we don't trust the big play from not happening. Well, I'm sorry. You're going to have to play better than that. You're going to have to play better than that. You're going to have to do better than that. So, going to have to do better than that. You can't have Minka just sitting back there, you know, being the last line of defense making $18 million. You can get a guy you can draft a rookie and have him out there doing that. Not the $18 million guy. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. I'll never come off of that. And it isn't because I don't believe Minka can't do it, because I think that he still can. I believe wholeheartedly that Minka can still do it. So, wholeheartedly. But this is where we are. This is where we are. So, we'll see, man. Question: what does Coach T do well? He's a leader of men, and that's a skill. You're never going to hear me say that Mike Tomlin is a great X's and O guy, because he's not. You're never going to hear me say that, he's great with time management, because he's horrendous with time management. But Mike Tomlin is a leader of men. And to be a coach in the National Football League, that's 50% of it. Will they follow you? Now, everything that you say, I get it. Everything that you, as far as, and I don't mean you personally, everything that people say as far as coaching and X's and O's and all of that, it's a big part of it. But if the guys won't follow you, then you're nothing. If the guys won't follow you, you're nothing. That's a good question, Mr. Bryan. Not enough people ask that question. So, but he's a leader of men. That's what he is. And leaders of men, you got to have those. But as far as an excellent X's and O's, which is weird, because how he got the job is because he was so good at X's and O's. It's weird. It's just weird. I don't know. Tyrone, you would love to see me be a head coach? Tell him to pay me. Have him call me. Andy Reid's the whole package. Andy Reid is, and here's the thing that I know from, I guess you could say it's secondhand information. The producer of this channel, who does all the graphics, all the background work, played for Andy Reid. And he flat out will tell you he is a player's coach. He does things to help players. He's not a pushover, but he is a player's guy. But we also know that Andy Reid is a hell of an offensive mind. Total package. Total package. So, total package. And you're right. He should be good this long, but that's why he's been in the game for so long. He's a good coach. He's a good coach. So, a body bag. You don't like Tomlin, bro. We get it. You don't think he's a good coach. I think we get it. But that's not what you said. See, you're moving the goalpost. You said he was hurting the brand. Well, you have still, it's 25 minutes later and you haven't been able to tell us how he's hurt the Steelers brand. You told us he's a bad coach. Okay. So, but you haven't told us how he hurt the brand. Because even in the state that the Steelers are in right now, the Steelers brand is not hurt. When was the last time the Steelers had a top 5 defense? It's been a minute. And we've talked about that several times on here, about the national media always talks about, well, the Steelers have a championship defense. And us Steeler fans were like, did you all even watch the game? Like, did you watch any part of the Steelers game? And if you did, what part of that did you say, oh, the Steelers had a top 5 No, the Steelers did not have a top 5 defense last year, Mr. Angry Man. I don't know what you're talking about. No, they did not. No, they did not. So, that effing guy says Dan Rooney would have put Tomlin's feet to the fire. Art accepts the mediocrity. That couldn't be more of a true statement that I think I've seen anybody in here. Couldn't be more. So the Steelers defense was number 6 last year. Um, I'm going to look at it because I think they were 11th at the end of the year. So let's see. Steelers defense. Total defense. I mean, yards per game, if you want to go by that, they were 15th. Total defense. If you want to do it by points, which I think is a good parameter if I could find it. Now, of course, they won't have it on here. That makes a lot of sense. There it is. By points, the Steelers were 7th. So total yards, they were 15th, and points, they were 7th. So not horrific, but not good. Yeah, there you go, Scott. Steelers need to get in attack mode on offense and defense. Exactly. Falling asleep at the wheel when you get inside the 30-yard line because you have automatic eyes. Whatever word. My thing is, when I heard Mike Tomlin come out and literally admit to the media and said that he doesn't like throwing the ball over the middle of the field because a component of the game is us possessing the ball, and it's more conducive to turning the ball over if you throw it in the middle of the field. So by us wanting to have a component of completing the ball, all the Mike Tomlin, Tomlinisms, for us wanting to have a component of keeping the football, we think it's best that we not, travel over the middle of the field. I was like, Mike Tomlin, you have lost your damn mind. You have lost your damn mind. Because it's more risky to throw the ball over the middle of the field, you won't do it. I just, there it is, Mr. Dodd. There it is. Living in his fears. Living in his fears. That's my issue with Tomlin. Exactly. Exactly. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Scheme, says Somber. You're 1,000,000% right. Highest paid defense only to rank 7th in points and 15th in yards allowed. I mean, ugh. And it's not even the highest paid defense. It's $160 million. You paid $160 million and all you could finish is 15th in yards allowed. And I could see, you finish 15th in yards allowed if, you know what, you win games by 10 points, 2 scores, and at the end of the game, teams are just driving down the field, with just meaningless yards, just empty calorie yards. Then you could look at it like nobody cares because, hey, team scored a touchdown with 10 seconds to go in a game. Whatever. They drove down the field. They got a bunch of yards. None of it mattered. How many games did the Steelers play like that last year? I mean, how many? What, the Raiders game? How many other games did the Steelers, it was just, oh, man, we just kicked our feet up at the end and like, yep, we got this one. Maybe the Browns game at home. But even that game got close. But what other game did the Steelers, the Jets? Not the Giants. That game was close. So let's call it 3 games last year. 3. So there wasn't a whole bunch of empty calories. And Somber, you're right. 15th? Ugh. Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. So So looking up stats means you're goofy, Tyrone? I got it. I got it. Da 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 da. Yeah. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. Yeah, no, we didn't. Cincinnati's defense was trash. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Absolute trash. Not even not even a little bit trash. A lot trash. Oh, it is what it is, somber. I'm still waiting for our man to tell us how Mike Tomlin is hurting the Steelers brand. We're going on 30 minutes. But it is what it is. Scheme is horrible. Got to fix it. Got to start playing more aggressive. Can't win playing on your heels. It just won't work. Never works. Never works. So I know, Mr. Angry. I know. I was just pointing it out. Just pointing it out. Appreciate y'all being in here, man. Gotta run. So gotta run. So we will be back tomorrow with podcasts. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining in. As always, thank you for showing up, showing out. We will be back tomorrow with the podcast, people. Talk to you guys soon, and aloha.